In addition to political vetting, the opposition calls for legal changes to prevent money laundering and to seize assets of crime. The four working groups held their first meeting underlining the prohibition of illegal concessions as a priority. 726 nurseries, schools, kindergartens and dormitories have been found to have problems with humidity, sanitation and drinking water supply, with the SHA giving recommendations to ensure requirements are met. With the start of the new school year on September 17, Tirana's municipality have announced the re-implementation of restrictions on vehicles supplying shops with goods during peak hours to reduce road traffic. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 11th of September 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Full decriminalisation through the vetting of politicians, liberation of justice from political capture, an economy liberated from monopolies and corruption, and free and fair elections. These are the four pillars that form the opposition's political platform. Working groups gathered in the Assembly's presidency to work on these issues, while the vetting coordinator, Ervin Saliani, said that this process is not damaging justice. He went on to reject accusations that the opposition is hindering the establishment of the special anti-corruption structure and the National Investigation Bureau. But even though the Assembly has already submitted initiatives for constitutional changes, it remains unclear who will be the institutions that will appeal to politicians. Democrats will have a full platform, even for justice, where many post-reform institutions are in a stalemate. Regarding the economy, the opposition aims to change some important laws related to concessions with the aim of making it impossible to inject dirty money into the economy. The working groups for the opposition's political platform must give their projections and draft concrete discussion points by tomorrow, following which they will present this turn this into a document that will be presented as a platform for citizens. Tirana has shown to be a city with one of the highest costs of living in the region, according to statistical organisation Numbeo. The data shows that the average family of four, being 2 adults and 2 children, spend about 170,000 lek on household expenses each month, without taking into account the cost of rent. This works out to 48,000 lek per family member, including those that do not provide income to the family. Interestingly, the statistics also show that the average salary of an individual in Tirana is only 40,600 lek, suggesting that families are well and truly overextending themselves, or that there is a significant disparity between the rich and the poor. With this background, Tirana ranks 413 out of 533 cities around the world in regards to cost of living. About 32% of the monthly budget a family spends is on food, compared to 39% a year ago. The prices of apartments and car rentals also occupy a considerable amount of the family budget. In the capital, the average family spends about 12.6% of their funds in restaurants, but fewer Albanians spend big on clothing, where only 5% of their income is used. According to figures from Numbeo, living in Tirana has an index of 37.14 points, thus being ranked as the 4th highest in the region in regards to cost of living. It is also underlined that spending is at 62.8% less than in New York City. Even in Pristina, the cost of living is 30% cheaper than in Tirana, while in Skopje it's 7% less. The most expensive country in the region is Montenegro. In the list of countries in Europe, those who spend the most are Switzerland, who leads the list, followed by Iceland and Norway. (726) educational institutions, kindergartens and schools were sanctioned by the Health Inspectorate, required to make adjustments in order to meet the sanitary conditions before launching for the new school year. There were 1,223 inspections at the national level, and from the identified problems, the lack of hygienic sanitary documentation, the presence of humidity and the amortization of the material base have all been raised. Head of the State Health Inspectorate, Eltadeda, said that 61 municipalities have been informed about the problems encountered in the education institutions. The last week before the start of the new school year will serve to see the fulfilment of the adherence to the required conditions. Also, many subjects have been found to have problems with the supply of drinking water. On the other hand, the Education Ministry and national food agencies have started their controls on the subjects that exercise their activities near educational facilities. Minister of Education Lindita Nicola was present at inspections in Veliaj. School is starting and all the attention is on the students, and we are especially looking at that which is related to food security. Therefore, in the capacity of the Minister, I would like to thank the National Food Authority, which these first days have completed the first inspections of all standards of all businesses operating around schools. There will also be special attention once school begins, so that we have food security for the whole assortment of businesses that offer products and services to students, said Lindita Nicola. Businesses were required to respect the conditions under the rules in force and to show the utmost care for the products they trade, especially as it concerns the health and life of children. As a result of poor hygiene and teaching standards, which continue to reduce year after year, the number of pupils in the 9-year school Iliakichi Dashi of Mifol in Vlora have dropped drastically. This new school year, the educational institution will not be opening its doors, with a further 6 more in the same situation across the municipality. For the past 20 years, lessons have been held in the premises of a former warehouse, with infrastructural intervention severely lacking. Consequently, the facilities have degraded, along with the school's reputation. 40 village students will continue their education in Novosel, just 5 kilometres away. In Mifol, there will be only preschoolers. Children 3 to 6 years old will still need to prepare for the path of knowledge in this warehouse, amidst prevailing moisture and mould. The school building is under the jurisdiction of the municipality of Vlora, which in this last year's budget did not have an allocation for either the partial or complete restoration of village schools. From September 17th, the beginning of the new school year, restrictions on the circulation of vehicles supplying shops during morning hours will resume. This measure by the municipality of Tirana aims to reduce traffic congestion during peak hours when the students of Tirana travel to school. The aim of the restrictions is to ensure children are able to arrive at school on time for their first lessons. Tirana's mayor, Veliaj, held a meeting with the directors of both the 9-year schools and the high schools of Tirana to discuss the preparations for the new school year. He explained that the restriction of supply vehicles applies during the hours of 7 to 9 in the morning, stressing that the decision has been made to assist parents and students in arriving on time at school. We will recreate the traffic regime with the hours restricting traffic of trucks and vans when students go to school. I have even said before, potato chips and chewing gum cannot be valued more than children. Supply vehicles can make their deliveries before 7 or after 9 so that there is no traffic chaos, said Veliaj. The mayor informed the directors that the issues of school overcrowding and teaching over 2 shifts will finally be solved with the construction of 17 new schools that will begin this year. I believe that next year not only will this process be completed, but that by the end of September we will have laid the first foundations of the 17 new schools. I have the impression that you know where the new schools will be after we have given a great focus to the peri-urban schools because they bend to the old Tirana area. With the 17 new schools next September, we will have completed the final piece of the puzzle, and at last we will not talk about the need to teach across 2 shifts anymore, said Veliaj. The panoramic view tower at the heart of the park, as well as boat trips on the Karavasta Lagoon, were a crowd favourite in Divyaka this tourist season. Mayor Freddie Kokoneshi says the 35-metre high tower has recently turned into a landmark for any vacationer or visitor to Divyaka. It is true that it has been a very strong reference point for the city, and it is understood that, from the information we have, all those who relax on Divyaka Beach choose to frequent this very beautiful point, said Freddie Kokoneshi. About 7,000 people have visited in the past 2 months, where, according to local executives, the majority of occupants are vacationers. Sea and nature tourism are considered powerful potentials for Divyaka's development, so investments in this regard are defined as priorities. "We have devoted a tremendous amount of importance to the development of tourism," said Freddie Kokoneshi. Official statistics relating to the latest tourist season in Divjaka are still yet to be released, but anecdotal data suggests a 40% increase on the previous year. A big part of the increase comes from foreign tourists, including those from Poland, the Czech Republic and Hungary. And an Australian, as I enjoyed the panoramic scene of Divjaka this summer too. That's all for our English edition this evening. Be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.